is about the World Cup groups. We're going to discuss Group A through D. So let's get started with Group A, who consists of Russia, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Uruguay. So the first game doesn't start until the 14th, which is like a Friday, I think.
June 14th, yeah.
Or is it a Tuesday?
No, it is a Friday.
Is it a Friday? Okay.
Yeah.
And that'll be obviously with the host country of Saudi Arabia and host country of Russia and Saudi Arabia. That would be an interesting World Cup hosting place of stuff. But yes, Russia is going to be playing them. I feel like this is probably the weakest group out of all the groups.
I think I'd have to agree with that. I think definitely Saudi Arabia, just the fact that they're there is a little bit of a Cinderella story.
Yeah.
Just with like everything that's going on like in that region right now. Russia obviously got in for free because they're host country. So definitely not the first matchup that you really want to see to get everyone excited, Russia versus Saudi Arabia. But
I mean, the strongest team obviously in the group is probably Uruguay, and now they're coming back from that they're almost in the similar group of death situation that was in the last World Cup with England, them, Italy, and Costa Rica, which they all somehow England and them got booted out in the.
I believe the word you're looking for is choked.
Yeah. Okay, that word as well.
Yeah.
But I would say they're the easiest number one. They're going to be getting out of this. I'm pretty sure they're going to be the best team out of this, and they're probably going to.
They definitely have the best team with like Cavani and Suarez up front, Godin at the back, and who's that other athletic center back?
Oh,
Jimenez.
Yeah.
So like, they're 100% the favorites, especially after, or at least until we hear what happened to Mo Salah in the Champions League final.
Yeah.
Like,
I think.
I heard that he was like he had his arm in a sling. Like I know we talked about it during the game that like maybe it was like some sort of collarbone injury. So if there's no Mohamed Salah for Egypt, like this group is 100% the weakest group.
Yes, definitely. But I mean, I don't know if Russia. I feel like Russia's like the big country that like is like a Scotland or an Ireland kind of power in a way, but they're so massive, but they still have like the only capabilities of like having like a Scotland or kind of.
I see what you mean.
Ireland kind of.
They're breaking the population theory.
Yeah, in a way of like, they don't. I don't know. I can't really. I remember watching like when United played Moscow a couple of times, and they would have like noticeable players and players that are basically trying to get out of the Russian Premier League, but it didn't seem like they have much there. I mean, they're probably going to be like gonna have to play like team soccer, obviously. Probably be very defensive against.
They have to be really organized.
Yeah. I don't remember who's coaching them at all. I'm too sure. I feel like they always have like those weird situations.
Isn't it still not the Zenit head coach, Dynamo like Zagreb or something? It's like one of the higher tiered like clubs in Russia. That head coach is also the head coach of the Russian national team, I think.
Oh, okay. So
I think
that's like a rarity these days too.
Yeah, it is kind of.
But that makes sense because he's already in Russia. Most of the players are playing in Russia.
And most of his squad is in Russia.
And Russian as well. So I mean, it gives him a good look. And then he's also looking at like under tiering or lower tiering Russian, whatever you want to call it, players as well. But it's whatever.
I don't really expect too much from Russia. They sent basically their A team to the Confederations Cup last summer, and like the teams that they were getting smashed by were like Germany did not send
they sent
anyone that was a C Germany.
That
squad.
was like a let's see what you can do in tournament situation kind of team. And a lot of those guys picked up a lot of experience.
Right.
I mean, Draxler was the captain of that team, too.
Yeah. So, like, a lot of teams sent their B teams for the Confederations Cup, and Russia brought, like, everyone that they had, basically, and they still, like, it did not go well for them. So, I don't really expect too much from Russia. I don't expect too much from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia has, like, a leading scorer in, like, Asia.
Okay.
But I think he plays in Saudi Arabia League. I don't remember his name, but I know he's, like, one of the leading scorers. They call him, like, the Saudi Arabian Messi or something like that.
Okay.
But, I mean...
Fair enough.
Who knows? They can... I would assume not a lot of the other teams have seen a lot of the Saudi Arabian players anyway, so they have that element of surprise. And they're probably going to have to be very organized as well.
I think it'll probably be... For me, it'll be either if Mo Salah is healthy, Egypt will finish second. If not, it really could go to anyone else not named Uruguay. I think Uruguay is going to finish first.
Let's come up. Okay, let's agree on Uruguay being the first team.
Yeah.
And then who's going to be the second team?
If Mo Salah
But we have to say one right now.
Right now,
when we do our bracket.
Right now, Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia at 2.
At 2.
Okay, all right. That's very bold. I'm gonna agree with you on that because I don't trust Russia.
Right. That's exactly the point.
Most Americans. But yeah, so let's move on to Group B, which is Portugal, Spain, Morocco, and Iran. And Iran so far away. Anyways.
Okay. All right.
Obviously, the clear big game is going to be Portugal versus Spain in this group. I feel like this is kind of like the England, Italy, Uruguay, and then Costa Rica's there. But there's one less team, obviously, with Iran in a sense. Cause,
really?
I feel like Morocco is going to be the Costa Rica of this tournament. I feel like that's my pick for my surprise team, because I feel like they have obviously players sprinkled around enough in Europe to where they're getting a decent amount of time. They have a couple guys at Ajax, a couple guys at PSV, and then they have that Southampton winger Buffal, and then they also have Bentiatia from Juventus. So I think they have experience in Europe and like that kind of play style, which is going to help them out. But then they probably are going to be calling on some guys that are like how Costa Rica had a lot of guys in the MLS. So like I feel like a combination of that is going to help them out with like I said, with the surprise how not a lot of people are going to be able to have a look at those players. So I think it's going to be that kind of play for them in this tournament.
Okay.
But who do you think is going to win, or what do you think the result of the Portugal-Spain game is going to be?
I think Spain is too good for everyone in that group.
Definitely.
I think Spain has found another renaissance of sorts. I think they've finally found a good way of integrating their younger players. I think like the Asensios and
they're like taking a page out of like the German book as well, like looking at like blending players and kind of how they're given chances in a way during like the breaks and stuff, not always calling on the same kind of players and throwing in different combinations. It kind of makes it more competitive as well, because some of the older squatted or senior players are going to be looking at that like, oh dude, this guy could probably potentially take my spot. And I think we even saw with Carvajal, who might not even who's going to be
also injured in the Champions League final.
Yeah. That's going to open up a spot for someone else if he doesn't be able to show. I'm not too sure who they have in reserves for him.
Bellerin did not make the preliminary squad,
he's probably happy about that. Or I'm not sure how DeMarcos from
Bilbao.
Yeah, I don't know how high up on there. And it's like kind of political too, because they have a decent amount of right backs after Carvajal too.
Yeah, they do.
That are sprinkled into La Liga, so
yeah.
So they're not lacking in depth. So then who are you gonna pick for number one in this group then?
It's got to be Spain.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I think Spain's ready.
So Spain's ready. Spain, obviously, yeah, because obviously the last World Cup with Flying Dutchman going on them, unfortunately. And then so number two, are you gonna go with Portugal then?
You did have some interesting points about Morocco.
Yeah.
I don't think Iran's gonna make it out of the group.
Yeah.
So
I think they're I think Morocco's most important game is that first game against Iran to make sure that they're fine and that they know what they're doing and get those 3 points. But that game against Portugal is probably to be the most important game. Actually, probably the most important game, period. But I would say it's still the first game is you want to get those 3 points. But,
yeah, I just feel like Iran and Morocco are not going to be able to handle Cristiano Ronaldo. Like if he's healthy, he's had. A lot of people in the beginning of the season were thinking like this is finally the year that he like goes over the hill. He got a really slow start to like the club.
Yeah, he didn't get his first goal for like a while.
For a while, yeah. But like he obviously like I think this season he set the record for Champions League goals in like a single year, and I think he also set the record for like consecutive Champions League games scored. Obviously, he's not playing with Real Madrid, but I still think that like
he's like better. So I think some of the guys that were supporting him in the Euros have gotten more experience.
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
Silva, I feel like it's gonna be. I think he might.
He's definitely improved under Pep at City, but I feel like Renato Sanchez went backwards.
Oh, definitely did. Yeah.
He made the move to Swansea from Bayern, and like you never really saw him again.
Yeah. And they went down too.
And I definitely feel that I don't really put any stock in anything that happened at the Euros. Like Portugal got into the knockout stage without winning a game. I think they went all the way to the final without winning a game in 90 minutes, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think
they won 2 games in extra time, and then like a bunch of draws.
Yeah,
and that was it. So I don't know.
Well, that builds experience because I don't know.
I guess it does.
Tournament experience because like, a lot of the guys are going to go into this. Like they know what to expect, how to win. Like even like if you're not actually winning.
I guess they learned how not to lose. Let's put it that way.
That's not important. That's an important quality.
All right. So I definitely think Spain number 1, Portugal number 2.
Okay, Spain number 1. I'm gonna agree on that one too. Even though I feel like Morocco could be that number 2, but I'm gonna go with Portugal because I don't want to argue about that anymore or any further.
You do you for your own bracket. You do you.
Let's go with Group C then. We got France, Australia, Peru, and Denmark. Now,
this is another really weak group, I think.
I think that's. I think the most important game is probably going to be like Denmark versus Peru.
You think that can decide second place?
That can decide. Even though Australia, they had a decent tournament, but last time in a way they didn't. I don't think they got out of the group though, but they had like a decent showing. Cahill had that that bicycle kick.
Crazy, yeah. It was a volley, wasn't it?
I thought it was a bicycle kick.
I don't think it was a bicycle kick.
Oh no! Yeah, it was a volley. Never mind, my bad.
Yeah,
sorry.
Left-footed volley, top corner.
So yeah, I mean he's aged. I think the only other player on there is like Mui from Huddersfield.
Huddersfield, yeah.
I can't really name anyone else off the top of my head that's like really impactful. That can really kind of like draw my attention to Australia's roster. I mean,
I agree with that. I feel like also Australia doesn't have anyone to compete against.
That too
in qualifying.
But also another thing too is like we have that. Well, I mean they're out of they're part of Asia. So.
I know, but like none of those teams are really.
Well, they're actually still playing like games. They're not like in the Oceania one where
New Zealand just waits for whoever they're.
Basically wait.
Who are we gonna play in our playoff this year?
But I think they have that kind of same thing with the element of surprise with like Costa Rica, with like a lot of the players coming from the A League. So like who knows again? But I feel like they're probably going to be the last place team out of this group easily. Peru, who barely got into the tournament, they basically knocked out I think Chile at their last day because I remember watching that because it was like a weird day. I was watching how Argentina got carried by Messi and then Peru somehow got in there, which was Peru. Okay, I guess. But I think I don't know. I feel like Denmark is a little bit ahead.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like most of the Peru guys, like Farfan, I don't know if he's even on the World Cup roster. And then they had another guy who scored the most goals, I think, in the qualifying. He actually got suspended or something like that for like some kind of misuse and drug use or something like that. So they lost another key player. I forgot his name. But they're appealing that apparently or something like that. So I feel like they won't have enough. And I feel like Denmark, we got Eriksson. I think Agger's still in the mix over there. Who is
Braithwaite? I think he plays for.
They have a lot of Bundesliga
Toulouse,
players.
someone in the French league.
Yeah, and then what's his name from? He plays
Lord Bentner.
La Liga.
Voss.
Yeah. So I feel like they have a little bit more going towards them. I don't know.
Never doubt Lord Bentner.
Man, is he gonna play?
I don't know. I don't know if it's on the roster, but Lord Bentner.
I would assume he probably is because like who else are they gonna put up top? Eriksson probably. Who knows?
Hill's gonna play all 11 positions. He's gonna be the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Dude, his free kicks are amazing though. Come on.
This is true.
Yes, that is true.
I think though that if I was gonna put money down on a second place team in this group, France is gonna win this group.
Yeah.
France is
together,
hungry.
If they don't
from
get
what happened at the Euros, they were embarrassed at the Euros. They lost to Portugal. They should never have lost to Portugal. They're at home in the home field advantage, choked hard against Portugal.
Portugal all they needed to do was put a striker in that. And they won that game. It was like what?
They lost to Portugal without Cristiano Ronaldo. All right, that can't stand. That can't stand. So France is gonna be ready to go. They're gonna breeze through this group.
Well, they have a pretty stacked lineup as well.
Oh yeah, you could make a second French team and it would make it out of probably all of the groups.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And just like getting them to play together, it seems like the last couple of tournaments, it's just been that consistent problem where they've failed to be a team.
One of these days,
or getting the right combination to come. I mean, they didn't bring a lot of players to this tournament, or a couple players like Martial because of coach and player reasons. Glashani's hurt.
No Benzema.
No Benzema. Gignac didn't get a look at.
Payet got hurt right before.
Yeah, Payet got hurt
in the Europa League final.
Europa League final.
Yeah.
So like, there's definitely players that are going to be missing. So who knows if that's going to be a big issue or not. But I think like in their back lines, like Varane and no, Laporte, is Laporte even going? I don't think.
No, Emerick Laporte is not in the roster.
So
they called in Rami,
Umtiti.
Samuel Umtiti from Barcelona, Varane.
So
I think Sidibe was at right back, Mendy left back. Who like although he just came back from MCL injury, he only got in like maybe 60 to 90 minutes of time with City before the year was over.
Well, it was an unfortunate injury, but
yeah, it happened. Like he was out for like 9 months, for a while. But I think for second place, I would go with Peru over Denmark personally. Okay. I feel like the way that qualifying works in CONMEBOL in South America, that it's not a fluke that they're there. Mm-hmm. I think that if you they had to go through Chile, they obviously they're playing Brazil, they're playing Argentina, they're playing Colombia, very high level of competition. There are probably 3/4 of the teams at CONMEBOL deserve to be in the World Cup. And obviously they can't all make it. So I feel like for anyone, even the smaller nations in South America, if they make it out, they're for real. Okay. And I think they're going to squeak out in a second over Denmark.
I will agree with that then, because you made the better case for Peru than I did for Denmark, unfortunately. But it's okay. So we got France going at number 1, and then Peru going at number 2.
Yeah.
All right. So last group, Group D. This is a messy group. We got Argentina, Iceland, Croatia, and Nigeria. Probably this is kind of wide open for the second one for sure. But
I do not feel that way.
Okay, really?
I feel like Croatia is really underrated. They have a world-class midfield and Mandzukic up top.
It seems like they don't do good in the last World Cup they did getting out of the group. It's basically this almost identical lineup.
Yeah. I think them not making it out of that group was more of a fluke than their ability of their team.
That game against Spain was amazing to watch.
Yeah.
Watching Perisic just tear up.
I also feel like that this is a bit of a golden generation for them, especially in the midfield.
Well, yeah, especially with Modric.
And all of them are creeping up on 30, I think.
Mandzukic is definitely over the 30 mark.
Modric has got to be more than 30 right now.
Yeah, he's probably over the 30 mark.
Perisic is late 20s.
But what about their backline? Lovren is really what they're gonna. That's
Lovren's been doing really well recently for Liverpool.
I guess in a way. But that's I don't know. I'm still kind of hesitant with them. I just think of
Would you take the backline of Croatia over the backline of Iceland and the backline of Nigeria?
Also, I don't. Okay,
the correct answer is yes.
Okay.
They're on the second level of the UEFA teams. They're obviously they're not a Germany, they're not a France, they're not a Spain.
Yeah.
But Croatia and England are level with each other. Okay. Let's be real here.
Okay.
I
guess Modric and Rakitic carry that midfield for sure.
Maybe not on paper. On paper, England should be a France or a Spain.
Yes, definitely.
But in reality, England is not a France or a Spain. Okay? So I think Croatia is definitely that second tier of European teams. Obviously, the qualifying in UEFA is a lot easier. There's really only one other team that some of the groups end up with 3 teams that are contending for 2 spots. But with the playoffs, most of the time it works itself out anyway.
But don't you think Nigeria's kits aren't gonna intimidate on any of these teams and have an impact?
I think that Iceland and Croatia, they're just not gonna know what to do. They're gonna be stunned.
No, okay.
Kelechi and Nacho just gonna run them down.
I don't know. I'm very hesitant on Croatia. I feel like I always enjoy them watching. We watched them play against Mexico with a C squad, and they kind of dismantled that team. What's his name? Jedva? Jedva.
He plays for Leverkusen?
I think yes. Yeah. So he's in the Bundesliga mix. So we're gonna go with Argentina at number 1, right?
Yes.
Easily, because they have Aguero.
Messi that team will not be able to return home if they don't at least make the final again.
Okay. Yeah. Would you think they No, we'll get that into the brackets. We'll wait for the brackets when we talk about that. So then, who we got number 2 then? Croatia then?
For me, Croatia.
Okay, I can agree with that then.
I don't think Iceland had their moment in the sun. They're thawing. Okay. The ice is thawing.
They're just gonna be land.
Yeah. There's just land left. Okay. People have film on them. They're gonna be. It's not gonna happen again. Okay. They're gonna try to be nice and real organized. And then Lionel Messi is going to score 3 curlers from outside the box.
3 curlers?
3. Count them. 3 curlers from outside the box.
How many from Aguero?
None from Aguero.
None? Oh, he's not going to go.
He's injured. He's injured, actually.
Yeah, but they still called him up.
Yeah, but I don't think he'll start.
Okay. All right.
I think...
Because that lineup's kind of weird.
Yeah, because they have Dybala, they have Higuain.
Because Dybala and Messi are basically they play in the same position.
They left Mauro Icardi out. I have no clue how you leave Icardi at home.
It's probably a personal reason.
Maybe
because I feel like he always talks too much. Honestly, even on his own fans.
Leading goal, I think he finished top goal scorer with I want to say Dzeko. I could be wrong there in Calcio this year, but. Obviously, he's been banging in the goals for Inter. He's been scoring. I want to say the last 3 years he's been over 30.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because he always has like an amazing card in FIFA. That I love using.
So I'm really surprised that they left him. I think Argentina has obviously the best squad in that group, and they have Lionel Messi, the best player in that group, possibly the best player in the tournament.
Yeah.
So for me, I think Croatia is going to have plenty to get through number 2. My dark horse is Nigeria. They're probably the best of the African teams, I think. And they're young and energetic.
Yeah, they have a lot of pace.
Yeah.
For sure, a lot of pace. Just we get to see how much maturity they have.
Right. So, and like they have a few of those guys playing
because like they did this
somewhat regular Premier League football.
This squad, I think, is most of these players are part of that like World Cup winning like under 19 squad or something like that.
Yeah,
so.
That's right. Yeah. So I think that Nigeria could have some surprises in store for us, but my gut says Croatia. I'm gonna go Croatia.
Okay. We'll go with our Argentina and Croatia. That would probably be the easiest pick. But who knows? Croatia can probably, if they beat Argentina, they can possibly just be the number 1 out of this one too, right? If they play Argentina head to head and win. You think that's a good possibility?
I think if Croatia gets a draw. If they nick a win, they're going to go out on top, I think, of the group. I think if they draw Argentina always has that one random game where they just like can't seem to get anything together.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Argentina could play like a Nigeria.
Yeah, because like Messi last tournament
not be able to score.
Yeah, Messi didn't get a goal until I think the knockout stages.
They struggled. They struggled a lot in the qualifying and the last World Cup. But like this year in the qualifying, I think they finished in the bottom spot.
Yeah, which is interesting how they got the top spot out of the
yeah, it has to do with the FIFA rankings.
Yeah, which is interesting though. It's still interesting.
Yeah, so like they were definitely like they did not have an easy time qualifying. So I think that they like it's possible that they slip up against Nigeria, or I don't really think so against Iceland, honestly, but maybe Nigeria. They make a draw against Nigeria, opens the door for Croatia.
Yeah,
and it's always funny to see how. How important it is finishing first or second. Sometimes you get screwed finishing. Sometimes, like the team that should be finishing second that manages to finish first gets screwed by how like some other group works out and they end up like against Germany and like they don't get rewarded for finishing first. But
yeah,
that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Well, yeah, because like sometimes like a high rate like a group of death team. That's a second team. Like they're not a second team. They're
right. Yeah.
They usually
sometimes just the way the cookie crumbles, you get screwed over. But
we'll see. So that's been Group A through D that we discussed. We're gonna go through E through H next show.
Yep.
Which is gonna be during the week.
Yes.
But yeah, let's move on to our next topic.